you remember us talking about the Marvel Wolverine game from Insomniac coming out? It was heavily leaked. I think it was at the end of 2023. And there was a narrative designer, narrative director, in fact, coming out and extolling all the virtues that the games industry needed to start pushing in regards to having proper representation on the digital screen. We need to pull every lever we have in order to ham-fistedly force our agenda onto gamers, even though they aren't accepting it at all whatsoever. Whenever you put narrative in front of gameplay and coherent story, you always end up coming up empty, and then people going, well, what happened? What's with all those bigots that are out there? We need to get a different audience. Where it's like, yeah, you're currently searching for a different audience, and there's a reason why gaming at the AAA level, at the Western AAA level, is dying on the vine. It can be easy to feel shunned when it comes to queer representation within gaming. In today's day and age, oh, shove it. Every new AAA game, every new indie game in the West basically has the same archetypal main character. It's the female that's a little bit pudgier than you'd expect her to be, with the side-shaved haircut and a generally mean disposition. It's a bigger trope than the bald-headed jacked space marine ever was, okay? Not only do gay people put up with endless derogatory, homophobic, and transphobic comments littered around every grimy corner of social media, poison the well even further, DualShockers. Come on now. Whenever a queer character crops up in a game, no, it's whenever they're pushed to the forefront and you're told to accept them without any question, regardless of writing acumen, because guess what? Nobody had a problem with Ellie in The Last of Us 1, but when you made her sexuality and her life choices front and center with Part 2, then all of a sudden people started to have a problem with it. Then people started to point out the lackadaisical story structure that your outdated gameplay, even for 2013's Part 1, is very much guilty of. It could no longer shoulder a lot of the criticism. That's when people started to have problems with it. That's when people started to post and point out issues. But whatever, a recent report showcases just how little this group is represented in the medium. According to GLAAD's recent study that is known for cherry-picking data, more players than ever identify on our nebula spectrum, right? And only 2% of games on major consoles and PC include queer characters. Yeah, when you take a look throughout all of history, all the games ever released on console and PC, only 2%. But if you just go ahead and, compress the time frame of the past 10 years, just go ahead and try to say that you're being underrepresented. But Mary Kenney, an associate narrative director at Insomniac Games, opened up to me to give her opinion on the heartbreaking state of gay representation amid GLAAD's report. And that's what we ended up breaking down back in the cut. If you want to see more on this specific interview, just go back and watch one of the Wolverine-centric videos from when these leaks broke earlier this year, especially, in on and around May. So about, 6 weeks removed from this. Should have something register on your specific platform of choice. But let's move ahead a little bit, because Sweet Baby Inc. Defender, right? Because she was another one of those staunch Sweet Baby Inc. defenders that, guys, Spider-Man 2, our other big game over here at Insomniac, okay, just because it had Sweet Baby Inc. in it, you guys actually don't know what they do, so let me explain, is that the proper term for it, as to what they actually do for our company, because it's not what you think. Then she would just go on to lie. I know, big shock on that one. But she was sticking up for Insomniac for employing Sweet Baby Inc. only to announce that, she's joined, equally woke company in CD Projekt Red. So you go ahead and destroy one company. You go ahead and poison the release of one upcoming game, only to go ahead and hop on over another sinking ship to just go ahead and confirm the ultimate destruction of the once great CD Projekt Red. Mary Kenney, the former associate narrative director at Insomniac Games, who is working on Marvel's Wolverine, announced that she's joined CD Projekt Red. Okay, and we also looked at her resume beforehand, and associate narrative director. That's awfully low rung. How do you go ahead and parlay that lack of success, that lack of tangible production in the business, into a different role for a arguably bigger company in CD Projekt Red? How exactly do you do that? It's almost like these guys, thanks to Black Myth Wukong exposing the extortion racket that they run. I'd imagine it probably went something like that. Kenney posted to LinkedIn, "Without further ado, it's time to announce my new job. Today was my first day as senior writer You went from being an associate coffee fetcher to being a senior writer at CD Projekt Red. Oh my god, best known for the Witcher and Witcher series and Cyberpunk 2077. The fact that you need to point that out just lets me know that you have no reverence for the gaming industry, but okay. She added, I can't talk more about my project. I'm thrilled to be back into RPGs, and my team is talented, welcoming, and just flat out cool. Here's to a new adventure. Jesus. Kenny detailed in an interview with DualShockers in May that everything must be done to push the gay agenda. She reacted to a GLAAD report bemoaning the lack of, yes, gay characters in video games, describing the report as heartbreaking. The GLAAD report tells us something key. Games are a way for gay people to socialize, but it also tells us something heartbreaking, that gay gamers don't feel that developers are thinking of them when they design games. So yeah, gay people play games, but the only way to make them more appealing to the people that are already playing them is by hijacking the narrative. But I thought games were a social thing, so you would want multiplayer Oh, no, you just want to hijack popular single-player narratives. Oh, okay, interesting. Perhaps that's what you'll be doing over there in Poland, obviously. Kenny added, there are so many gay developers, and we want what players want. Obviously, you don't. To design experiences, to tell the player we're here, we're important, and we belong. They don't want that, though. They want good stories. They want engaging gameplay. They don't want to have current day politics shoved down their throat, because we've seen how well that has worked out for all of the games that have imbibed in that. None of them have been successful. In order to obtain this, she declared, we need to pull every lever we have. Characters, community support, mechanics. Yes, get what you want. Otherwise, you go out there, you have a coffee with your marketing department, and you terrify them, in the words of your good friends over there at Sweet Baby Inc. Not only has Kennedy, no, it's Kenny, I was right the first time, made it abundantly clear that she will do everything in her power to push the gay agenda. She defended Sweet Baby Inc. after working with a consultancy group on Marvel's Spider-Man 2, and I'm sure they're going to be working on Witcher 4, or whatever schlock CDPR is going to be crapping out to much critical acclaim, but probably not a lot of commercial acclaim, because as good and well regarded as The Witcher 3 is, the teams and the development studio that made that is very different than what is currently going on at CD Projekt Red. In a 12-post thread on X, we're not going to read all of it, obviously, because there's only so much cancer to go around. Kenny attempted to justify and defend Sweet Baby Inc.'s pushing of woke ideologies into video games. She wrote, some of you don't seem to understand how narrative consulting on games work. But don't worry, I do. Oh, great. Yeah, so you're going to bitch-splain this to us. Fantastic. Yes, this is about Sweet Baby, because I've worked with that team, and they're one of the finest in the biz. Yes, at foisting ideologies, something that you hold very near and dear to your heart. I agree with you on that for once. And he shared a disingenuous breakdown of what Sweet Baby Inc. I was going to say CD Projekt Red, but they've yet to do that. Does by X user 8-bit closed fist. He says, wokeness is killing gaming. Here we go. I've avoided the conversation. Okay, this is, once again, I pointed this out in a recent video as well. Whenever leftists are actually pinned against the wall, thanks to their own statements, their own divisive comments and actions, they just immediately want to dismiss it. They either want to try to gaslight you into this not being an issue at all, or just try to dismiss it and hand wave it away as just simply being, oh, there's just irrationality on both sides. You don't actually understand we have all the answers. If you actually had all the answers, we wouldn't find ourselves in this conundrum to begin with. Basically, when a game is being made, some people will hire them to write dialogue or character designs of certain types of characters. Yeah, exactly. That's the problem that people have with Sweet Baby Inc. Spoiler alert, it usually involves stories and characters. That isn't the default. Yeah, and there would be nothing wrong with that if it was just simply, hey, let's bring in a character that happens to be black, that happens to be gay, not they're gay, they're black, you got to deal with it. When you come in as ham-fisted or close-fisted in your case, as that's when people have problems with it. Especially when you go the extra mile in the case of Alan Wake 2, where you take previously established lore and you Sweet Baby it. But Kenny's addition to this, whenever you're in a development and wherever the notes are coming from, the problem is the same. Something's wrong. The team can't figure out how to fix it. That's when you call Sweet Baby, because they are experts when it comes to extorting companies so that your developers, your ideological activists, can get their way. Next, she posted, the next part is key because some of you seem really confused. Narrative consultants don't get final say. They don't override the core development team and leads. So what you're also saying to that is, okay, so not all of their decisions get taken into consideration. So there's even more insane stuff that they're pushing for in the background. Well, that's a very interesting thing to go ahead and leak. Yeah, man, that's who CD Projekt Red just signed up. Somebody who is going to have their poisonous fingerprints all over that upcoming Wolverine game, because Wolverine as a character is far too masculine, far too toxic to go unchecked by the underrepresented masses. Of course, there's the dozens of people on Twitter that might take offense to a game that they're never going to buy or support in their life. No, of course not. We can't have that. We need to have the input of such ideologues like Kim Belair to come in and lend their expertise for sensitivity reading and risk assessment. Risk assessment. Well, in today's day and age, with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, with Spider-Man 2, with Tales of Kenzara Zhao, and in light of the revelations of Black Myth Wukong, I think the only risk assessment here that needs appropriate addressing is anybody aligned with and supporting Sweet Baby Inc. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.